People are asking, what is judo law? Judo is a martial art that uses the opponent's strength to defeat them by not opposing it directly. Gary C. Johnson created a method of practicing law based upon that principle. It worked so well, he named it judo law. To see the results, go to GaryCJohnson.com. To have Gary and his team of judo lawyers go to work for you, dial pound hurt. This is an advertisement.
If you're hurt, injured, don't waste time. Gary Johnson cries for every dime.
Welcome to Simply the Law, a program created by attorney Gary C. Johnson. Simply the Law provides free legal advice and encourages happiness and quality of life. Now, here's Simply the Law with Gary C. Johnson.
Hello everyone, welcome into Simply the Law. I'm Keith Casebolt, and from last week's program, I've been thinking all week it was a good program. Welcome back, my dear friend Gary C. Johnson.
Hey guys and gals, how you doing? And all of you last week, after the other program that watched it, you were impeccable with the word all week. You did not assume anything. In other words, you didn't go around with feeling slighted without even knowing what's going on, making it up as you go, right? You didn't do that. You didn't take anything personal, period. You did only the best you could do without worrying about what anyone else does, right? You did those things, every one of you. You didn't criticize, condemn, or complain, not a single time all week long, right? Now, if all of you said yes, you probably lied. Because it's so hard to do, isn't it?
I told our radio audience the other day that how I broke the rule of assuming when my dear friend Greg came to see me, and I even told Gary, I said, you know, he stayed that evening, and when he left, I thought something's wrong with Greg. He didn't talk very much. So I texted him, and I assumed something was wrong. I said, are you okay? Did I say something wrong? Have your feelings been hurt? And he said, no, you just talked all night and I never could get a word in. So here I had assumed that there were all these problems. The problem was I did all the talking.
Duh.
So much for assuming.
So you're struggling, right? But you're getting there. And you're moving that happiness scale up the ladder as we go. If you remember over the years, I've talked to you folks about one of the main reasons I do this program is I want you to think. I want you to get outside the box, and I want you to think. I want you to think for yourself. I don't want you to be influenced by TV, by the news. I want you to watch all the different channels, news channels, and think. Really and truly, what is going on here? What is the end result of what all of these people are saying? If you really and truly want to find the truth, figure out where it's going to end and work your way backwards. And try to ignore what people are saying in the meantime. Because they may be lying to you or not even know they're lying to you. Which is even worse. They may believe it themselves, but the end result will always give you the truth. So figure out, where is this going? Where is this going to end up on all the things that's been talked around me? And you have to discount what's being said. And you have to think. Now, is thinking easy? Nope. It's easier to not try to think. But if you put your brain to it, which you've got good, fine brains, every single one of you. Every one of you that's watching has got a good, fine brain. And you can use it to think. And it is amazing how you will change your perception of things around you when you start thinking and watching.
Is this because we get away from that terminology that you and I talk about? They say, or they told me, or I hear. You're wanting us to say, well, I've read and I've researched, and here's what I think. Mm-hmm. Take accountability and say, here's my opinion on it after I've looked at everything.
And respect other people's opinions, but don't necessarily adopt them unless you have the information to go on. And speaking of thinking, I read you to you last week from this book, and I found another little thing this week that I wanted to read to you from it. It's The Art of Living by Wilferd Peterson. And it's on, guess what? Thinking. He's got a section on thinking. And I'm going to read it to you because it's pretty neat. The Art of Thinking. The art of thinking is the greatest art of all. As man thinketh in his heart, so is he. The thinker knows he is today where his thoughts have taken him, and that he is building his future by the quality of the thoughts he thinks. Remember how much I've talked to you folks about attitude and how you think and how you look at things? That's what he's saying. He recognized his sovereign control of his own mind and decides that he will enter his mental kingdom through his sense gateways. He thinks for himself, considers the evidence, seeks the truth, and builds his life upon it. He sets no limitation on the power of thought. He recognizes that big thinking precedes big achievement. He creates mental pictures of his goals, then works to make those pictures become realities. He knows that everything starts with an idea, and that the creative power of thought is the greatest power in the universe. It is.
Wow.
He sees with a single eye of intense concentration, seeking facts just as a powerful searchlight penetrates the darkness. He keeps an open mind, observing, analyzing, considering, questioning, looking for the hidden key which will unlock the problem. He thinks of his mind as a factory and gives it the raw material, the facts and data from which ideas are fashioned. He thinks both subjectively and subjectively. He gathers mental power both from the world without and the mind within. He uses the magic power of his subconscious mind, commanding it to come up with ideas while he sleeps. He knows that thought, like a tree, grows night and day. He studies the laws of cause and effect and strives to work in harmony with them. He approaches problems both intuitively and logically. He uses the light of his imagination to create and his critical mind to judge. He tests inspiration with logic. He avoids the one-track mind and sends his mind forth in all directions to expand the range of his mental horizons. He strives to develop a mature mind without losing the simplicity of childhood. He creates ideals with humility, knowing that behind the idea that he calls his own are the thoughts and efforts of many men. He realizes that he is at his creative best when he is in tune with the infinite, when he is open and receptive to the higher powers of mind and spirit. He exercises his God-given power to choose his own direction and influence his own destiny, and he tries to decide wisely and well. Now, what do you think of that, Keith? Huh?
Well, you got me again, because I'm sitting here thinking the whole time that you're reading, we get so excited about the little cell phone we have and the little computer that's in it. You just pointed out to us, we have been given the greatest computer that has ever been created in the world, and we can use it anytime we want to think and do all the things you read about.
Well, remember what he's saying. Remember how many times I've told you that if you want to become whatever you want to be, plant it right there. And that's what you will be ultimately. You have to see yourself. That's what he's saying. How many times have I told you that if you have a real bad problem, think it through and then turn it over to your subconscious, and about 2 o'clock in the morning your eyes will pop open with the answer? It happens. It works. That's what he's saying. Let yourself flow and think with nature, but think Analyze. Do not accept what somebody else is saying. Do not accept what they're telling you on the news. They are talking heads getting paid probably $100 million a year to influence your thinking. Think for yourself. Read, look, ask questions. And then in the end, make a decision. And keep a really positive attitude. And it is amazing how you can change your thought process. And it's amazing how you can change life, your life. And remember, we talk about change, right? Again, I want one person that's watching this program tonight to start thinking. If I get my one, then we've had a successful program. I just need one, okay?
The part I loved about that, about what you just said, is that whatever the problem is or whatever the thing is in your life, if you turn it over to the subconscious, the mind, it will work on it even when you're not even thinking about it, correct?
Your subconscious never sleeps. It's on guard to protect you 24 hours a day. It makes sure you breathe. It makes sure that if you need to, you sweat. Just think of all the things it's in charge of. Make sure your heart beats. Make sure your kidneys work. All of those things. You don't have any control over, right? It's all your subconscious. It also, its sole role is to help you survive. I think your subconscious may, in a way, be more in tune with the good Lord than we are cognitively. Because every time in my life I've ever given a real problem to my subconscious, it gives me the answer back.
So these times in our lives, Gary, when we've said, oh, it just came to me, or it just popped into my head, or a light went off, that's not true. The subconscious has been working on it the whole time, trying to solve the problem.
Well, it's like when I'm going to do this program, and I know you folks will probably think, well, Gary's crazy. I can honestly say to you, I will have no thought about what my program is going to be on. And suddenly, it will come to me what to do. And I am convinced that it's because there's someone that needs to hear it. Now, do I sound crazy? Probably. Am I crazy? Maybe. I don't know. We're all crazy in a little ways, aren't we? You know.
Did somebody
We try to keep our crazy in the closet the best we can.
But did somebody need to hear it? Yes.
Yeah. And maybe somebody's sort of crazy like I am. I don't know. But what I'm saying is, I need you folks to think. And if somebody's got you into a state to where you think all this bad stuff's going to happen, and then to where you are miserable and you're scared and you're worried, think for yourself. Mark Twain made the statement, with the way the world is going today, I can't imagine how grandkids today will be able to survive in this world. Now, that was probably, 100 years ago that he said that?
120?
Yeah. And look what's happened since then. And I guess what I'm saying to you folks is, it's going to be okay. There's plenty of smart people out there that's going to make sure it's okay. Some of them may be watching this program. But I'm telling you, don't fall into this doom and gloom and take your happiness satisfaction on a scale of 1 to 10 and move it down to a 3 or 4. You want to keep it up there around a 7, 8, or 9 at least. Don't do it. Don't fall into that trap. People that are forward thinking. I saw a business, a nationwide business, come into our area just recently and entered into a long-term lease to put a business in. Now they do research and they know what they're doing, and they had no problem projecting out into the future that things are going to be okay and there will be a need for their business. Now that's the type of attitude that each and every one of us should have. And if we do, it will be okay and it will be happen. But if you fall into that trap of gloom and doom and bad things and all of this stuff, if you fall into it, then it will be a self-proving prophecy. It will happen. So, my friends that watch this show, let's don't be part of it. Let's be positive, and let's think it's going to be okay. And we're going to take a break.
The power of thinking, and we possess it. That's the thing that's so great about it. Stay with us. We'll be back with Gary C. Johnson right after you see this.
I'm Gary C. Johnson. I developed a method of representing my clients called judo law. Using judo law, our team set the record for the largest personal injury verdict in the state of Kentucky. No other law firm has even come close. We've had several multi-million-dollar verdicts since then, and guess what? Now, most of our cases settle. If you've been hurt and you need money fast, give us a call, pound hurt.
Welcome back into Simply the Law. While you were reading the passage about thinking, I thought about Earl Nightingale. He was a guy that did a series called Our Changing World, and he had this little poem he would read that was, what the mind attends, it considers. What the mind doesn't attend, it dismisses. What the mind attends on a regular basis, it believes. And whatever the mind believes, it usually does.
Every time.
And that poem popped back into my head after 30 years that's what it was saying, that if you think and consider it, you will believe it, and then you will end up doing it.
It's amazing the gifts and the talents and the skills that you folks have that are watching this program. Each and every one of you was endowed with something very, very special by the good Lord when you were born. I hope you've used it wisely. If you haven't used it wisely, I think we need to change course. Now look at the past and go forward and start using it. You've got it. You have the ability. Every one of you does. Every single person watching this program has something that's really worthwhile that our society needs.
Gary, I'm getting it now. You get on this program and you look into the camera and you say, I'm talking to you, you're unique, you're one of a kind. Now you're proving it because we possess the assets, the computer, we can, all of the things that we've got.
That's right.
It's a one-of-a-kind machine that can't be rebuilt.
That's been programmed to have a certain special ability by the good Lord. That's the point I'm making. And you've got it, guys, gals. You got it. And some of you may be feeling down low because somebody said something mean to you or whatever. Withdraw your permission. They don't know anything. They don't even watch our show, right? I mean, seriously, we're a happy family. My friends and I, we're trying to be happy, aren't we?
I swear I asked Gary one time on the radio program, I said, surely there's somebody out there that said something mean about you or didn't like you. And Gary said, yeah, I'm sure there is. I just can't remember who they are.
That's right. I don't remember it. I don't even try to remember it. I don't pay attention to it. They call me a milk cow, that's okay. I'm paying attention to it because they're not the ones that decides or has the right to decide how I feel. Nobody does except me. And that's what I hope my friends understand about yourself. You're the ones that get to decide how you feel, not somebody else. But in the same sense, nobody else has any responsibility for your happiness but you. It's your responsibility. And you should be held accountable for it. You should be.
I tell you, when you put it in those terms, it almost makes you embarrassed to say someone hurt my feelings, or someone put me down, or someone said something negative about me, because the way that you put it, they don't have the power to do that unless you let them.
You're not going to hurt my feelings. I don't care. I'm never going to give anybody that power over me to where they can hurt my feelings. You don't have to either. You are in control of your life. And again, I will say it. You are exactly the way the good Lord made you. And if he had wanted you to be anything different, he'd have made you different. And he's give you something special. And I hope those of you that may not have recognized it and taken advantage of it, that you will. I'm going to read you a little thing on this from The Art of Living about humility, because I think it may be appropriate at this point. Are we ready? The art of humility. The art of humility begins with a recognition of our dependence on others and appreciation of God's gift of life. Think about that. How many times have I said that to you folks, huh? Mm-hmm. A man becomes humble when he sees himself in imagination standing naked, helpless, and alone at the dawn of man's creation. When he realizes that millions of men in thousands of battles have given their lives to make him free. When he is aware of the enormous debt he owes to others who have labored through the ages to fashion the world he lives in. When he acknowledges that he is the heir of infinite riches he did not create. When he considers how little he knows of all there is to know. When he understands how the philosopher Will Durant felt when he wrote on his 75th birthday, "I feel like a drop of water trying to understand the ocean." When he stands under the stars at night and meditates on his insignificance compared to the vast reaches of the universe. When he measures his inadequacy in the face of the multitude of undone tasks that faces mankind. When he ponders the miracles of his own body, which without his conscious thought controls heartbeat and respiration, digests foods, compounds chemicals, renews cells, combats disease, heals wounds, maintaining the equilibrium of his intricate physical being. Think about that, folks. Out of such contemplation, a man becomes truly humble. When he knows so little about so much, he becomes teachable, open-minded, and flexible. He never stops growing. Because he realizes his own limitations, he becomes more tolerant and understanding of others. Because he is grateful for the immeasurable contributions others have made to his life, he is not blinded by arrogance and pride. He has greater vision because his ego does not get in his way. He discovers that those of a general spirit do have the earth for their possession. That humility opens the gates of the mind and heart so greatness can flow through.
Wow. You did it again. You spent the first half of this program, we all got pumped up because we're this special, unique creation, and we got this great mind and computer, and then you brought us right back to say, but you're no better than the guy sitting next to you or the gal sitting next to you. They are just as worthy and just as unique.
They are.
Humility.
And that's the thing. If you have humility and you understand your own greatness inside of you, but you have to understand that everyone has that same greatness. We are all equal, and no one is better than anyone else. Think about that. You're no better than anyone, but they're no better than you, right? Because you each are born and given the gift of life by the good Lord. So do you think the good Lord ever said, okay, I'm going to have George and Jane and Jim over here, but I'm not going to make them equal?
Yeah.
Do you think the good Lord did that ever? Huh?
Or put a value.
They said, I'm going to make George more valuable than Jim.
Yeah.
You think the good Lord did that? Huh? Do you think any of you were made more valuable than your neighbor or somebody else in the eyes of the Lord? Huh? And what else matters? But you are equal. And that's the point I'm making to you. You are equal. And there's some of you out there right now that have been put down. There's at least one of you I know for a fact because it just popped in my mind. That one of you has been put down to make you feel like you're not worthy. And that's wrong. And that's cruel of anyone that would do that to you. Anyone that would say mean things to you. Anyone that would make you feel like you're less than anyone else. It's just wrong. So I'm telling you, you have a choice. And that choice is to ignore it, puff up, say I'm mighty fine because the good Lord made me this way and ain't nobody going to take it away from me. That's all there to it. Do it. Okay?
Let's take another break.
Okay.
I got to tell you, I feel like the writer right now who said, I feel like a drop of water trying to understand the ocean. That was the context. Stay with us. We'll be back to close out the program, Simply the Law, with Gary C. Johnson after you see this.
Eastern Kentucky, southern West Virginia, and southwest Virginia. It can be a tough territory to reach when it comes to marketing. We can help. We can also help you find your identification. And we have plenty of services to do it and a lot of experience behind us, over 37 years. In fact, we've either booked or sold nearly $70 million in advertising in this region. You need a new voice, a new idea, a new concept? Casebolt Marketing. We're ready to go to work for you today. Our motto is nothing happens until you make it happen. So let's get started today.
Welcome back into Simply the Law. I was thinking during the break, what you just read to us, if you will think and take this to heart, you will treat everyone better. You will find out that people will like you better. You will find more happiness, and you will have reverence for this life, which we talked about earlier, if you just take this into consideration.
There is always a downside to everything. And I'm going to explain to you what that is. It's called crazy. Normal people, we're all basically like good, decent human beings, whatever. But you will always run into some crazies. Don't let those crazies beat you down. You can't make somebody crazy happy. You can't change their life. You can't do anything for them, and if you think you can change it and do something for them, you're wrong. Crazy is crazy. I've lived a long time, and I've watched a lot of things come and go, and I'm going to tell you the downside. Get away from crazy.
You did a whole program one time on the dead horse.
Yeah, don't kick that dead horse. You can't bring it back to life. There's no what you do. It's going to be dead no matter what you do. And when it comes to dealing with somebody that's got serious mental illness, all you can do is hope that they get treatment for it. But you can't let it destroy your life. Okay? Point made.
In other words, these points work. There's always going to be somebody that doesn't get it. Move on and be with the people who do get it.
That's right.
Well, this program started out with thinking. Now, we've got a lot to think about this week, my friend. Thank you for the lesson. And thank you for taking the time to visit with us. Gary and I so appreciate it. And on behalf of Gary C. Johnson, I'm Keith Casebolt. We look forward to seeing you again next week, right here at this very same time.
Thank you for watching Simply the Law, a program created by Gary C. Johnson. Until next week, may you be safe, blessed, and happy.